Evening. Good evenings.
Evening.
How is everybody doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Highly favored and highly blessed.
Of course.
So, we have Jerome back from his school, wherever he went on his backpacking, traveling at Dora the Explorer.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about that. I don't know. I haven't seen you since the music video shoot.
I know.
First, you got to introduce yourself now, Joel, because last week you were the interviewee, and this week, I don't know, you're kind of like a mixture now. So
mediator.
We're enrolling in. So I don't know, Jerome, you obviously know about the news. Lovely Amoy is on a break. She's having some free session time. So
hiatus.
This was always confusing me. Missed over there.
Yep.
Is stepping in. I don't know how it's going to work, how we're going to have the panel, but for now he's going to be Amoy male version. Well,
I think we can just do like free speaking, a little flow, a little fluidity, and then we all good.
Yeah. Joel, can I just ask you again?
Yeah.
How old are you, man?
16.
16. Guys, listen, when you hear this guy's mind, it's next levels. And we're going to get into it, but 16. I wish I had someone like you around me at 16,
To be honest, like they don't even listen anyway, so.
Nah, but you are special, I'm telling you. Yeah, so we'll get into it a bit. Angie, how are you doing?
I'm good. I am living in my positive world. Got my listening to you. Got my little book of positivity. How my emotions feel. So I am good. I can't complain. I love doing these podcasts just because it's fun. I can't see my screen so small. Good evening, Jasmine.
Good evening, Jasmine Dale. Hey.
We've got comments. Joe has good people around him. Yes. For you to envy.
Who is that? They came on the last live as well. Who's that?
Yeah, for you to envy. I don't know who they are, but
for you to envy, that is smart. Ooh.
Shout out to you for you to envy. So yeah.
How are we starting? I know this is like a
free... Gabriel's dad. Okay, I remember you. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
we had a boy called Gabriel. He came to the Brent Cross show, and he's 13 years old. He's an amazing producer, and he raps on his beats as well. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And his dad was in the crowd rapping along. He knew all the words. It was amazing. It's good to see.
I love that.
That is real kind of cheerleading going on there. Number one fan. Good on you, Dad. We need supporters like.
Come on.
Angie, you was going to get into something.
How are we working today's show? How do we want to give it to the audience? Because you've obviously been away for a bit and I haven't been. But I think each of us have had our time off. Life's kind of together. But eventually the crew will be back together. But for today, how are we going to base it to the audience? I know there's going to be a lot of kind of keys and nuggets.
Yeah.
Joel, I think we're kind of interviewing you again. But maybe we'll dissect your brain a bit and have a general conversation. Good evening, Phil.
Good evening, Phil. Come on.
Good evening. So,
a massive shout out to Amoy from Burner Boy.
Hey.
Hey, we're getting it out there.
Come on. Hey. Tell Burner Boy I said hi.
To the subject, I'm trying to every week I'm trying to get us down to time frame, but we just overrun time.
Okay.
We love each other so much. We just got so much nuggets to give to the world. But what are we going to start with? Give me a subject. Let's fire around.
Balance. So I think we should start where we was just having a conversation backstage around finding your balance, because as we were speaking, stress can. A lot of people don't realize that, there are different barriers to your stress. So you have a spiritual realm, you have an emotional realm, intelligent, and then it gets to your physical.
Yeah.
But when we seem to get stressed out, or when we're down in the dumps or anything like that, we seem to only deal with the physical manifestation of stress, and we don't tend to go to the emotional or the spiritual. In general terms, I'm not saying that there's not communities that are not doing it, but in general terms, when we look at sickness, we look at physical, and we forget that physical is a manifestation of two barriers before that. And so it's important when we're looking at healing from stress, we're looking at the holistic side of healing, which is different elements that incorporate that. So I just wanted to touch base to see what Joel and Angie, you do to find your balance. I've got to be honest and open, and I'll explain a little bit about some of the stresses I've been dealing with recently as well. So yeah, but I wanted to come to you first about how do you find your balance? How do you, deal with stresses of life?
Me or Angelina?
Whoever wants to go first. Looks like you're going first, Joel.
Oh, me? Okay, great. So how I deal with stress of life?
Yes.
Okay, well, for me, in general, I like to deal with it with stoicism and nowism. So I think of what I'm doing right now, and I don't worry about what I did yesterday or the week before, and I'm not worried about what I'm doing next year, because that's not what I'm doing now. So it gets to, and I also think of exaggeration. So if I have a fear of wanting to do something, I think, what's the worst thing someone's going to do? If I ask them, they're going to say no. I leave with nothing. I gain nothing. I lose nothing. That's fine. And then what's the best thing that could happen? And then I'm like, okay, that's motivating me to do that. So when it comes to stress, stress for me usually stems from environmental problems and then me overthinking. So drop them gems, yeah. So it comes from me overthinking, and I think, okay, do I have a problem? Yes. Can I do something about it? Yes. Then there's no need to worry. And if I make like a flow chart, I have a flow chart. There's a picture on my phone, but I can't bring it up. But there's something like that. And then can I solve it in 5 minutes? If I spend 5 minutes actually focusing on it and I can come up with a solution, then that's sick. If I can't, then that's fine. It's not my problem anymore. If it doesn't concern me, it's not my problem. So stress for me, I internalize it and I see what I can do, and then I separate it from me, because it's not my problem. If I see, it's like I finish a drink and I throw the bottle in the bin. That's not my problem anymore. That's in the bin now. So it's like you internalize your stress and your problems, and then you see what you can do about it. If you can solve it, great, solve it, problem solved. If you can't, then you release it, and it's not yours anymore.
So in terms of releasing, do you physically write it down and saying it's not mine anymore and throw it away? Or in your mind, are you telling yourself, I'm done?
So sometimes it's the latter, but I've always liked physicality. So sometimes I write down positive and negative. So I'd write down affirmations, and then you burn them up and leave them to the sky. And then so sometimes something I saw in movies where people would write letters and not send them to people that they're estranged from and things like that. So I would write down the negative stuff, and I'd either throw them away or I'd burn them, so that it's just completely gone.
Powerful. And there's an actual, that is a process that actually is quite healing.
When you see it, because seeing is believing. Once you see those problems burn away, they're gone. They're not yours.
Yeah. There is something about that.
Well, as well,
It's
like
beautiful.
Fire, people look at fire and think it's actually dangerous. I guess theoretically, go above and beyond, but the symbol of fire actually has so much more meaning behind it. Like just the warmth that fire would give out, let alone before it even gets to danger, people forget.
Exactly. And fire and humans and fire, there's a whole duality stemming to the beginning of time. Humans discover fire and they can wield it. It's in their hands. They hold it on a stick. They hold it on whatever. And then the humans, they breathe, and they breathe in, they breathe out. Fire, it needs oxygen to breathe. It breathes in, it breathes out. When it's constricted from that oxygen, it dies out. When humans don't have oxygen, we die out. So it's very similar, Fire gets what's that?
You dropped a bomb.
Oh, you need to invest in a soundboard.
Yeah.
When fire gets too hot, it gets uncontrollable. When humans get angry, they'll break things, they'll hurt people. So there's a whole duality with it. You know, fire is beautiful. You have different colors of fire: blue fire, normal red fire, orange fire. You know, in science, you have different metals you can hit the flame with.
I love the color in a Bunsen burner.
Hmm?
The Bunsen burner.
And yeah.
Love the colors of those.
Exactly. In science, you have the different metals, and you put them to the fire, and it'll turn different colors, just like humans, all different colors, all different. You know, they're also beautiful. So there's a duality between fire and humans. You know, we literally look to the sun for survival. So
powers, man.
I'm telling you,
there's something to be said that the elements hold keys to our healing. So you know, there is no doubt in my mind that most people's mind, when they think about healing, they think about, or you know, being stress free. They're in nature, some sort. So some are in the jungle, some are on the beach, some are just in the mountaintop, and there's something in that. You know, it's about us understanding what the world around us really is, and it's all about accessing those other meanings of life. So Angie, let's come to you. What do you do to find your balance?
Varies depending on the situation. So like currently I've had a few family issues that I've had to deal with as one person. That's been a bit overwhelming, and it just depends on what the situation is. Like my stress reliever is dance, which I've recently got back into. I feel like I can express myself through the arts, but also just having me time, just sitting down and just thinking, because I am an overthinker. Like I always like to pre-plan things. I don't like disappointment anymore. As I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, right, if I know I can avoid this, let me plan a backup, like A, B, C, D, even though I know when you make a plan B, it means your plan A is going to fail, but I just don't like to be in a predicament. But I do
I have something to say just in regards to that. When you're coming up with plan B, you have something, not a plan to fall back on, but you have a plan ahead of you to fall forward on, so you see where you're going.
It goes in other ways though, because I guess if you have a backup plan, you in your mind subconsciously think that your plan A is going to fail. So it's overthinking again. Like we as humans overthink with little milestones that happen in our life. Like we're quite dramatic beings, and each of us is kind of centered in a type of way, and we're triggered by certain things. So like myself, I get triggered by kind of stress. I get like headaches and my eyes hurt, and I know that's when I need to kind of step back and I need to figure out what's actually causing this. Like I work in front of a computer every day, and I know like I'm out just to go for walks. But one thing that's actually recently helped me is just watching the sunset, which didn't think it'd be for me. My friend was like, oh no, it's beautiful. And you know what, it actually is. Like when you're abroad and you look at scenery, you take it in, whereas when you're kind of in a common place or somewhere that's kind of neutral to you, or it's just your everyday life, we forget how beautiful like nature is. Even just seeing it all can be therapeutic. And when I was younger, I used to make tap dances to like the sound of the rain. So many things can help people, but we don't utilize it. But me personally, self-love, I guess. I like to retail shop. Retail therapy is my way, keeping my balance. My balance emotionally, but also spiritually. You do have to connect with your spiritual side, whether that is God or it is just kind of meditating or opening up chakras. Some people go deep into crystals. You have to go into your spiritual side, and you have to connect with that soul of yours, because it's triggered, and that's where things stem from. Ain't that right, Jerome? Who taught me that?
That's where it stems from.
I didn't teach you anything. You taught yourself.
I was just guru.
That's the thing.
Things, but yeah, self-love. That's what I think we've all forgotten, that especially with COVID, everybody's forgotten about self-love. Just taking time out just to sit down with your loved ones, or even by yourself, even watch something you haven't watched in ages, like a favorite movie. How many times can you say you've watched like a childhood movie in the last year? Like your childhood movie that everybody has a favorite movie that they had when they were a child.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Nemo, Hook.
Oh,
We need more folks like you on this planet for real. I love your mindset. It's beautiful. Thank you. Love you too, man. Yeah. No, it's powerful. What do you say, Angie?
We don't have this positivity. Like what? We don't have a community anymore. Our community's broken. We need to again.
You know why? I believe I'm not. This isn't like necessarily true or anything. So I'm definitely or probably wrong. But just observation. There's not a common unity, which is community actually. Common unity. Oh, community. Yeah. So there isn't a common unity in terms of like people are unified when it comes to fighting for like against something, but there's not a common unity for loving something, or you know, like to that same energy for our healing and our growth and our togetherness and our, you know, seeing how beautiful we are. I think to myself, like, we as a species are so incredibly built. How do we not wake up like honoring the essence that we are? Like, if you think how intelligent we are as beings and how much powers we really have, it's mad. It is literally mad that we don't access it. You know, and so I think that society is driving itself mad, because with the very tools that we could use to actually equip ourselves to be in a great place.
But
so
grateful, like how you said, great place, grateful into it a lot. What we forget how grateful we are just to have certain things around us, and that then sends people mad.
Exactly. Like when people think about their first world problems, what you have is someone else's dream. And then you have people in Zimbabwe. Like the Zimbabwean community is amazing. They want to see everyone succeed. They want to see everyone strive. But then you have people in these London communities in America, as like when their friends are trying to do well, they'll be like, yeah, you can do it. As soon as they end up doing well and getting a big break, they're like, nah, what are you doing? They get
they changed. You changed. Yes,
exactly.
No changes. I have to.
The world keeps on moving. You have to move with it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, as you all have been saying about, there's this sense of community that we need to, you know, the thing is, there is so many beautiful people out here. So many. Like, I'm speaking to two right now who are in tune, and I'm just like, why don't they highlight this? Do you get what I'm saying? Why don't they? And maybe it's not in the interest of the system to highlight it, because they need to keep you divided. You know,
of course, they love segregation, negativity sells. Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of life, when you actually look out of the window, we have got a beautiful life, you know. And I think that's the balance. Like, for me, it's understanding that, you know, negativity can serve a purpose if you allow it to, or darkness, or however people frame it. It like that side of life is part of the balance. It's knowing that, okay, it doesn't feel good, but it's necessary for your growth. It's necessary for the next level. It's necessary to drive you, necessary for the passion, necessary for the fire, as you were saying, you know, like understanding, okay, you are in tune with the fire, but don't play with it too much. You might get burnt. You know,
so it's that duality. It's
knowing, respecting it, and being like, you know what, that was tough, but I respect it because it taught me, it gave me a sense of resilience, and I was able to use that to character build. And so it's, for me, it's just the meaning, the balance for me is about creating that meaning that serves you, to enable you to help others and to help yourself ultimately to have a better experience. Because I know the team have been going through it, and I'm going through it at the moment with my mum as well. And the life is fragile. So we don't have, people have this, they have this mindset that we have life. And yes, you have life, but you don't know how long you have life for. So you really have to understand that fragility of, you might not wake up tomorrow. So why not ask, like when you greet people, you greet them as if it's your last time, because you don't know if you will see them again. And that's the problem. I think that people haven't understood this existence, the fragility of it, the beauty of it, the depth of what we're dealing with. So sometimes what I do is I fly up. If I've got a problem, I fly up into the universe in my head, and I'm going, in the grand scheme of the world, is this problem that big? Yeah. Will I remember it in 5 years' time? Yeah. And then boom, tick it off. I'm like, okay, oneness. Because your ego can really, like, it depends. Like, I know my ego, and if I run through past traumas and things like that, I'm like, my ego's telling me to battle this. Then you have to go, but does it really serve me? Nah. Is there a learning and an observation that I could take from this? Yeah, I'll take that learning, but I don't need to battle in that, if that makes sense. And even with stressed, in the word stressed is rest. So there is something about your body telling you when you're stressed, you need to rest. You need to be still. You need to take time. You need to recalibrate, observe what's going on within, so then you can help without. And so it's
stressed. You need to rest so you can be too blessed to be stressed.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's all about kind of just being grateful and looking at what you have. Like, I can't even explain the experience my family members had. And what upsets me is that you don't wake up being grateful. You've had a near-death experience and you're still not grateful. I'm just like, statistics are they should not be here, and you're here. You're breathing, you'll see another day, and you're not grateful. I mean, I don't actually understand this Afghanistan Taliban situation. I'm still trying to get my head around what the whole meaning of that. But I mean, look at these people that are handing them kids over, soldiers and stuff. And yes, we have situations. We don't know what happens in somebody's household or behind closed doors. But at the end of the day, it's a dark place, but you will get over it. I mean, everybody has light. Always light at the end of the tunnel. A tunnel is open on both sides. It's never closed on one side. That's not a tunnel. You're eventually going to get through it. Like, it seems dark, but there's always going to be another side for you to come out of. Whether it's better, whether it's worse, you don't know. But you're going to be stuck in that situation. It's going to evolve. And throughout my job, I see so much kind of people feeling trapped, and everybody is kind of like, more and more people are relying on antidepressants, which obviously not into it too deep because Jerome can go off on a tangent on this one. But I mean, it helps with some people, but it's also for a certain time frame. There's other things that can help, whether it is just literally stepping back and taking a breather, whether it is looking at your life situation. If you do a Jerome and you fly up to the universe and you check out your solar system up there, and you see, we just have to give out to people, like people who are watching the show that may have friends or family that are going through a time. We've all gone through a time. It's just how you deal about it. Speaking, this generation or my generation or younger don't like speaking about what they go through. If they're going through a dark place, they hold it because it's bad and it doesn't look cool. And how are you going to grow from that? It's like people don't use their traumas anymore as a good thing, and they use their trauma as a bad thing. And that's where violence and rage and depression stems from, and stress. Why don't we speak about it anymore? It's not bad to say you're going through something, or you're struggling, or you're having like certain situations financially, physically, mentally. It's okay to speak. And that's what we forget as humans. I see like 6-year-olds. My family are stubborn. They don't like to speak about what's going on. Why? It upsets me. I'm like, why do we not communicate with each other? Why do we not do this anymore?
Because what that does is, by speaking about it, and this isn't them, we have to realize it's not your family, it's a systemic thing. So by you speaking in your vulnerability, which is actually your power, because if you think about a vulnerable situation and you've overcome, that's actually strong, that's powerful. And what that does is, by speaking, you unlock that for other people. So that, and we're seeing it now happen, there's loads of people speaking about all these things because we've got social media, and people are, being uplifted, like, wow, that was beautiful, connecting through stories. And that is your power. Your story is your power, and the vulnerability is a power. But the problem is we've only been given access to the meanings that don't serve us. So what we do is we've been given access to things that, kind of drain our energy, make us more angry, depressed, sad, divided. And so we've been conditioned, and it's either intentional or not intentional, but we're there, where we wake up in the morning and we will give ourselves, our brains are programmed to look for the negative in most situations, rather than find the balance and go, you know what? Like, for instance, if we think about everything in your house was made of value, every single thing, your bed, your TV, your doorknobs, your door, your roof, your paint, your everything, every single thing that was made around you was made with value. Someone thought, I'm going to create this, but I'm also going to share this. That's value. That's beautiful. That's a good meaning. And we don't have that balance of meaning. So it's about kind of reprogramming your brain, unlearning some of the stuff that we've been taught, to actually relearn, oh, actually, although I'm not feeling great, it doesn't mean the rest of my day has to be crap, or I'm waiting for the next. Because when you speak to most people, they have real easy access to feeling negative versus feeling positive about their life. And it's just becoming conscious of those things. So like when you wake up, how am I feeling? Checking in with yourself. Okay, what can I be grateful about? And because that can really, it took me a many years to do that consciously. Like, oh my God, this plant is like, I've got plants by my thing. So when I wake up now, as you can see, I'm like, oh, I love this plant. It's really nice. It sounds cheesy, but it gives me that kind of, I know plants are life. So I have that thing, oh, I've got life. I've got a plant next to me, which is also giving me life. So then you start to reframe and balance out that thinking, rather than having things around you that don't serve you.
Exactly.
Or that doesn't. But Joel, I wanted to come to you because you're 16 years old, bro, and your mindset is incredible. What has contributed to that mindset?
Do you mean as in like after I started, or what started it, or how do you mean?
I mean, what contributed? And it could be your family, it could be an experience, but what? Because your mind for a 16-year-old is beyond.
You an old soul.
Yeah, no, you're just beyond. Like, you're a divine energy, I would call it, because it's like you've just got this peace about you at your age, which is very humbling for me, because I'm just like, wow, it's there. So you're an example of like, oh my God, this is what young people, if they've got the right nurture, the right environment, or the right mindset, whatever it is, we need to know. We need to know what has contributed to your growth, because you are a model of what we're trying to enable our fellow royals to be like.
Of course. Well,
Big up Phil.
Come on, Phil, representing Hearts of Talent. But yeah, so for me, it started like before the finale of Brent Factor. I just had there was a big thing, and I lost like some like friends and relationships, and it just caused me a lot of pain. And then I started looking into myself and doing introspectives, and then we had the Hearts of Talent finale, and just being able to perform on stage, singing What's Going On, singing This Christmas, singing to my mum, my sister, my friends. And that was just a fantastic end of the year to me. And then 2020 comes and we have COVID and we get to stay at home. So when I get to stay at home, that's when that's where my power resides. That's where I can fly, I can do backflips and all them things. So COVID comes and then we're stuck at home. So I have I'm just left with my electronics, which is, there's good and bad, but we move. So I just start doing my research. I start doing my introspective. So I had a lot of stress at the time. I dealt with a lot of stress at the time. When I was 8 years old, I had my what?
Can I pause for those who don't understand what are introspectives?
So being introspective is looking into yourself. So you're looking into your mind. You can imagine it as like if you close your eyes and you're sitting in front of a mirror and you're talking to yourself, but it's you and then the you that's experienced everything and is still experiencing it, rather than like now going forward, having breakfast, doing all these things day by day. So I did my introspectives and I had a lot of stress. When I was 8, I had my first existential crisis. I was like, what's going on? Why am I here? All them things. It was stress. I had to carry that for a long time.
8 years old. Woo.
8 years old. Yeah, it was because it was another thing, because the way Christianity is taught in England and America is with fear, like God fearing. If you do this, you go to hell. Back in the day, 1700s, they were like, if you pay this much to the church, you won't go to hell. But then in the Caribbean and Africa and East Asia, they teach these religions with love. God loves you, you know. Treat your families with love, treat yourself with love thy neighbor as you love yourself. So it's like it was pain for me. It was pain for me. Like someone like my auntie or something, they just told me straight up, like, you do this, you go to hell. I broke down. It was horrible. So moving on from that, in 2020, I was able to learn all these things, and I was stressed, and all I did, I just closed my eyes. And because usually I would fall asleep to Netflix or YouTube or something stupid like that. But this time when I went to sleep, you know, I closed my eyes. I just took deep breaths in and out slowly. And I was like, what do I want from myself? And I had a good sleep, and I woke up, and I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted. I knew who I was in a way. And it was it goes even deeper, because that was when I like realized, but it goes deeper to like when I moved. So I moved house in 2016, and then in my old house I had my same bed that I do now. And then one day I just broke down. Everything was going wrong. Everyone I spoke to was just annoying me in one way or another. So I literally ripped the shirt off my back. I ripped it up, and I just that was like my breakdown. Instead of breaking something valuable, I ripped the shirt up, and then I took my time to breathe, and I calmed down. And then I just took the pieces of the shirt and I just tied them around my bed. After that day, I've not had a single nightmare.
Wow.
Which was crazy. But I think last year and a few other times I did have some slip-ups, but that's just probably because I was homesick or something big happened. But after that day, I didn't have a single nightmare. I would either not have dreams, or I'd have good dreams, or just confusing ones as usual.
There's a question that you see, what you don't realize is what you're doing, or what you've been doing, it's not normal, and it's it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's the question is what I wanted to go to, because that question was powerful. What do I want from myself? Now, I haven't heard anyone, even big people, say, what do I want from myself? They always say, what do I want from life? What do I want from the world? Whenever they want the growth, they always look externally for their growth. They look responsibility on them internally. The fact you did that, I'm like, whoa, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Like, how did you? Obviously, there's probably a spirit side of you which is beyond, so you can't always explain that. But ask yourself that question alone is so powerful. What do I want from myself? Because what you're doing is you're giving yourself the responsibility for your growth and your accountability and the way your life's going to move forwards.
You can't rely on anyone.
The aid of the creator. Do you know what I mean? And it's power. It's absolute power. So I have to credit you for actually asking yourself that question and giving yourself the responsibility to take charge. Because a lot of people will say, they will put it on God, they will put it on this person, and it's like, but you are in this life. God gave you this life with these and equipped you with all these tools. Are you able to see it now?
Yeah.
You're going to take the responsibility to ask yourself and the brain the questions that can unlock your potential. And that question alone, for me, is the gem.
Yeah.
You ask that question and then boom. And even like ripping up the shirt and all these are not normal processes. So just take heed of that, bro, because yeah, man, you're doing some stuff.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a long time coming, but it's always been there. You know, it was a little kinder when you know, or tinder, whatever it is, the little small flame. And when I was younger, and then as I got older, it's growing brighter and brighter. And I was just able to finally bring it out, you know. Like, fire is literally just the epitome of recycling. Like, every second fire is dying and being reborn. because it goes outside, it breathes in, new air comes in, and then it's doing all that. And for me, that's what was happening to me. But every time I took that breath in, I got bigger and bigger with the flame. So it's instead of working from the outside in, I was working from the inside out, which was good. Yeah, because
so going into like kind of your trauma, your childhood situations kind of led you to this, or do you think this was just like kind of completely separate and it was just it just happened one day?
Oh, definitely. For me, my life has been, because I'm very, algorithmic. I'm very, I like regimented. I say that, but I'm messy from time to time, and I'm late from time to time. But for me, I like to be regimented, and my life has been cause to effect. Like I've always been interested in things like this. So I started watching like Doctor Who when I was younger, and it brings to the question: what is time? Is time cause to effect? You drop a glass and it breaks, or is time random? A glass broke, but it just so happened to fall before it broke. So I've always been regimented like that. So for my life has been cause to effect for most of it, but sometimes it's been random, Or once last year, once I started doing all this, I would literally go outside. I tell the universe what I want, and I get it. It's been good, There's been times where it's been bad, but still have the house. Like the rent is still being paid, we're still living here, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm still able to charge my phone, talk to people, and now the circle, when it this is something I like to think of chemically. So you see chemicals on the periodic table, they have different shells, right? And there's bigger shells. And in the nucleus in the center is me. Why do you think your brother, your sister, your dad, your mom is called your nuclear family? They're right next to you. They're right in the middle. And then the outer circle, that's your close friends. Outer circle, talk to once in a while. Outer circle, you saw them at that one function. So I like to think of it like that. I like when I'm teaching people, like I'm starting to teach my friends, because now they've left high school, they've stopped messing around as much as they can anyway, because they don't have those influences from their other friends. So when I teach my people, I like to use like graphics, and basically it's kind of weird because I study psychology and sociology as well. So when I like to teach people, I let them teach themselves. So I tell people pick a number, and then they'll pick a number, and I'll akin that, and I will relate that to something that either they understand or they would like to understand. So once they do, they'll be like, oh, I didn't think of it like that, thank you, and they will actually go and change something about themselves.
Version of you, like it's so weird. He's literally a mini version of you.
So Joel, you're speaking my language, because I always, when people say to me, oh, so what do you do to help people? I said, I just facilitate space for you to grow. So I show you the mirror to who you think you should be. It's not about me telling you to go here or go there. I give you a set of information, and I give you space to ask yourself the right questions, and then you do the work.
Exactly.
So it's important. Yes. It's me as well.
You have seeds, you have sharks, and you have reptiles. The one thing they all have in common, well, they have multiple things in common, but the things they have in common: seeds, like plant seeds, reptiles, and sharks, right? They all grow to the size of their environment. If you have a shark in SeaWorld, even though you can't because they're dangerous, but sharks, they will grow to their area. That's why they're so big. Because they'll grow to their area so that they can be good predators. But if you have a shark in a box, it will only grow to the space of the box where there's 1 foot in between, so it can keep swimming, because sharks have to keep moving, otherwise they die, because they have to keep breathing. They push the air forward. Reptiles, if you get a gecko and you put it in a box, and the box is 10 by 10, it'll grow to like 7 by 7, so it will have space to walk around, and it grows to that space. But if it's out in the open, it'll grow to as big as it wants. If you get a seed and you put it in a field, when you see trees come out, they have roots everywhere. They have roots growing out on roots, because it wants to get as much of that nutrients as it can. I've seen time lapses where you have seeds in water. It goes down, and then it spreads as far as it can. because it wants to get as much as it can. But once it realizes that, okay, I can't go any further, then it won't. Just like water. The first thing you learn about water in science is that it fills the shape of its container. Everything you put water into, if you have a little bit of water, then it'll stay at the bottom. If you have a lot, it'll fill all the sides and the middle. That's how it works. So yeah, I like to go on tangents and all them things. I relate everything to everything. So
no, I love it because, you know, everything is connected, right? So when you look at the trees and how it, you know, the roots are you know, resemble our veins or our lungs, even if you think about it like that. And so
safe in that situation.
Huh?
You say, Angie?
Safe. There's a parable in the Bible about a mustard seed.
Mustard seed, exactly. You let it grow.
Mm.
And the thing that I had to relate that to people is, if you give people space to grow, they'll grow. But if you leave them in a box confined, they're not going to do anything. That's you know, that's what I was saying with psychology and therapy nowadays. If you put a label on something, someone's going to be like, what's wrong with me? They're like, there's a name for this problem that I have. And they're going to be so scared. They're going to be so scared sometimes. Like, when people say, okay, I'm a bit different than this person. And then they go to the therapist and they say, yes, you have this. You take this medication. I'm like, I have a problem and I need to be medicated. What's this? And they get so scared. And it's not nurturing at all. It's painful.
And that is a bit of an issue, because even if we look at it now, you know, mental health illness, because, you know, in mental health, it's, you know, they when you seem to think of mental health, you seem to go into negativity.
Exactly.
You have to define it.
About how happy someone can be with their mental health. Like literally, I had I was, you know, depressed, you could say, before I got into all this. And once I did,
deep rest. You need a deep rest.
You see what I'm saying? So once I got into all of this, now I'm happy as can be. You know, sometimes I'm happy as can be. I made an angry tally at the beginning of summer. Every time I feel like I'll get angry. Week 1, it was 100. There was a lot of things that made me angry. Then I went to boxing. I diffused, and it went down each day. The second week it decreased by 87%, went down to 13 times. In the whole week I was angry. And then each week I've been trying to get down to 0, but there's just something each week that annoys me. So it's been 1, 1, 1.
You're allowed one. You're allowed one.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm working towards that and getting just down to 0.
You know what I did on Sunday I did a half marathon with little or no training basically, but I realized there's something in this running, this marathon, 10K runs, 20K runs. Because what it was because I was slightly injured going into it. So I've got 2 ankle injuries basically. But I went into it anyway. I said, listen, I've committed to it. I'm just going to do it. Injury or no injury, take some painkillers, wrap up. And I ran 13 miles non-stop. But and was running past people, everything. But there was something about the mindset there, like my mind said, no, body, we're doing this. And I did not stop once.
Yeah, exactly. That's
and
how
I was like, wow, this, you see this right here. Our community don't have access, because you have to pay for these things. You have to pay to run a marathon. And I'm like, imagine if the kids were given the opportunity. So you did a mindset program and you said to the kids, all right, at the end of this, we're going to do a marathon and we're going to get you to implement the things that you've learned about mindset challenges and solutions. And you're going to do it in this race. You're going to complete this race, all of you, but you get a little medal for it. And at the end, you get a little hug, whatever it is. And I was like, when you complete that marathon, there's an endorphin. It's crazy. I can't explain it. Your body goes into it. Because
it's a reward center in your brain. So it releases your endorphins, it releases your serotonin and your dopamine.
I find your body amazing, because obviously normally I haven't been doing no 10K runs, no training like that. And my body adjusted. So it said, it was like on mile 3, because the first 3 miles I was like, I wasn't breathing mad, but my legs were feeling like, raw, okay.
Yeah.
You're doing a long run, man. It's past 5 minutes now. And I ran for like an hour and a half non-stop. So But what was good was knowing that your body adjusted, and then all of a sudden your body got strong. My body just got stronger. And I was thinking, wow, this is powerful. I'll be honest, I don't see many Black people doing these kind of things. So I'm like, why don't they do these things? There was loads of white people, and I'm just thinking to myself, is that part of kind of why we as a culture or as, you know, Black and ethnic minorities are sometimes in these places because we're not doing these things that can unlock some of these kind of ideas and things around, you know, because for me, this whole week now, I've been like, and I'm like, I now know I need to run because of what it does in terms of makes you challenge yourself, keeps you fit. And then also there's that community, because on the run, you're just speaking to people, you're like cheering each other on, the crowd you're on it. There was just something beautiful about it. And it's running, you know, it's something most of us can do.
Simple thing. We've been doing it since the beginning of time. Running easy.
But it connects you because it's an earthly thing, if that makes sense. It's an earthly, you know. So I was just like, that for me was powerful to take it in terms of another tool of balance is like, you know, physical activity. So you were speaking about boxing, so it kind of sparked my mind around. There is something about physical activity, about getting it out.
Yeah, exactly. When people can vent out, because they can either do it verbally or they can do it physically. Like that's the urge. When people get angry, they have an urge to break things. They have an urge to hit something, you know? Like in America, there was this whole stereotype when I was younger of like teenage boys in America. They'll like break their wall and they punch their wall and they have to cover it with a poster, like when they're angry. And you have a thing, again, with teenage boys in Britain, even America, they get so angry, they throw their controllers at the wall, not knowing that they won't be able to play the game after it's broken. You know?
That's true, you know.
But then to relate this back to what we are as Hearts of Talent, of being kind of a preventive program from crimes, in particular knife crime, but all crimes in general for young people, meaning that we want to use the arts to express. Whether we will obviously lead into sport, physicality, of running, anything regarding that. But I mean, we have to just give thanks we have a program like this, and then I know Heart Talent's getting bigger and stronger day by day, but we need to encourage youth, friends, family, cousins, whoever, a friend of a friend, to know that you can express yourself. That's what I find people forget to do, especially like during my work. The calls I take and people I deal with forget to express themselves. They just want to literally go to medication. But express yourself, express what's bothering you, to then open up. Whether that is singing, some people cry. We obviously have Hearts of Talent. We have, what do we have? Dance, singing, rapping, filmmaking, and spoken word is the 5 things we're using, and we will eventually put them out into other things. But we need to encourage people to use at least those 5 things at the moment until we as Hearts of Talent can get there. Or if it's not through us, just do it. Go and do boxing, go and do karate, go and do swimming.
Exactly.
And
because like just like we were talking about, we're here as a preventative, you know, cause, and we can get people away and into those arts, but then you also have people like me and Jerome that can help you on a psychological level, on a spiritual level, and a mental level. Like, you don't just have to talk about mental illness as in negativity. You can talk about how happy you are, how proud you are of your achievements, things like that.
And in mental health, there's meant to heal, meant all heal.
Exactly.
So there's a process for healing, and healing is not like what people may think it is. You know, some people think it's all this, and sometimes healing can be just having a conversation that connects you to the present, or, you know, just sitting by a beach and, as Joel said before, letting go, transferring that energy into something that is, you know, going to turn that pain into some sort of power for you. And it's important you create that process. So it's about us giving you the information which you can digest and realize, okay, well, this suits me. So some people might find their healing in God. You know, some people might find their healing in exercise. Some people might find their healing in stories. Some find their healing in expression. It's down to you. But and this is why Hearts of Talents is powerful, because it allows for that space. So you're not only expressing and diving into your creative talents, but you've also got the mentorship side, where you've got people that are operating from that heart space, Hearts of Talent, heart space. Yeah, but who are operating from that heart space, who are willing to go beyond just seeing you as a talent, but actually seeing you as a human being and giving you that energy to make you realize your true potential. So we're only showing you the surface, which is, you know, dance, rap, you know, spoken word and all these kind of things. But below that, there's a true potential, which is the inner work, the inner potential, which then
big up our hot faith and community, because we do mentioned obviously spirituality and faith, and we do have pastors on board of Hearts of Talent that are there that can interact with you. They're not going to Bible bash you if you're not obviously of that faith. They are still there to kind of lead you and guide you and to understand. I mean, I think we're all born into what family we come from. We all have some type of religion. We aren't here just to kind of say, yeah, we're going to do about God and speak about God, even though that is where Hearts of Talent has its core. But other faiths have so much, or religions have so much to give out that are kind of shown in negative light because of social, because of things. And some people don't embrace their faith, which then holds back their kind of key potentials of coming out into these categories like dance. How many faiths have like a special type of dance that means something to a god, but they won't ever show you that because they're scared of their faith being portrayed in that type of way? Same with singing or chanting, stuff like that. Chanting is actually so powerful, but it's been portrayed to be as like black magic and dark stuff. There's so many things we can incorporate as humans, and Hearts of Talent has that with the pastors. They are there. Can't fault all the pastors on board. I can't even name them because we're just getting on board all the time. But spirituality and Hearts of Talent are linked, like Jerome says, like the heart and the soul is all connected. Help me out here with all my chakras. YouTube.
I'm telling you, it's all about duality. Like you were saying about the chanting, if you hit something hard enough, it's gonna break. Like you see how mountains and valleys are formed. The water keeps passing. It's called abrasion. The water keeps passing and it breaks down the rock. If you keep affirming yourself, I'm strong, you're gonna be able to break a wall. I promise you.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, man. So I mean, we've basically done a whole hour on balance and it's kind of self-care, I would call this one.
It really is. You know, back home they used to make us, you know, walk with books on our heads.
Yeah.
Burner Boy's team is watching, yeah.
I have to big him up with all his achievements. He's obviously made his affirmations and know what he wants, and look how much he's achieved in a space of time. So just nice to kind of have people like that look at this and see big him up with what he does as well. Big up yourself, Burner Boy.
Yeah, Grammy. Hey, okay, let me not even. Sorry, this is
Grammy Award winning, and he's got a new tune. Burner Boy's got a new tune out.
Question: Are you mad? I can't even. I'm not even gonna sing it. They have to listen to it themselves. They have to hear it themselves. It's new magic every single time. Oh my gosh! Yeah. He came out with kilometer. Nah, I'm not even gonna. Yeah. Hey,
he's got a brand new song out. A couple of hours ago. Check it out. But I also want to draw your attention to a group called Sunel, if you haven't heard of them. So they're I can't remember where they're from. I think they might be from Zimbabwe, you know, if I'm not mistaken. But
how do you pronounce it? I mean, how do you spell it?
SUN and then -EL. Yeah. But there's just something about their music which is very enriching. So again, as another little, everything we're speaking about is little tools, music, vibrations, baby. So, you know,
music is all about frequencies and vibrations, you know, and if you make high vibrational music, people are going to love it. That's literally in production. You have a space where you can deal with the vibrations, 4K, 8K, 16K. Like, anyway.
Do you know how that's crazy? And this is why it's important, the music that we're playing, because, you know, they say, you know, music doesn't influence. Well, it does, because I remember music that when you're in certain moods, you listen to certain music. And so certain types of beats can put you in that kind of amped up kind of energy, or others can put you in that kind of mellow light. So Sonel is a good one because I basically play them every morning. It's a 45-minute kind of slot, and it plays out, but it just gets me like motivated for the day.
Like literally the other day, I went to sleep and I just put on my headphones and I played Dave's new album. And then in my dream, he's there. He was rapping the words there. And my dream was like a whole movie. It made up a whole scenario. There was this bad boy that didn't like the music and he was dissing him. And then we took him and we made him like do like some community service or something. And then he left and then his mom came. And then Dave got to the part where he was rapping in Heart Attack or something. He was like, I used the word fell with the commas inverted. And in my dream, I was like gonna start crying. It was crazy. But the fact that music can, go past your ears into your brain, into the dream realm, that's how strong music is.
But you know what?
It's crazy.
You obviously have Burna Boy and his team watching. And as you're talking about Dave, one song that me and my daughter listen to every morning for the last week or so is Dave and Burna Boy's Location. That is with that song. I honestly, I wake up and I have to listen to that. I don't know, it's like a new addiction I have. That one song in particular, and even my daughter, she loves it. It puts us in the mood, and it's like you said, it's the rhythm behind it. Just even the lyrics are powerful. Don't get me wrong, but the beat behind it is something. And some artists forget that. It's all about kind of the lyrics and the bars. But for us as a generation, we do need that beat to have that positivity.
Yep.
It is crazy.
And like Amoy said, music got her through her surgery. When you have something like that, you have something like big to go through, and you have like a medium like music to help you through that. It's amazing because it's like there's literal lyrics of songs that people quote every single day because it helps them get through their days. Like music has been a thing since forever. It started with us hitting the floor. That's it. And then now we have all this kind of intricate music. We went through the classical stages, everything. People can listen to one Mozart song and just understand everything in the universe ever. And you have rappers that fit such intricate lyrics into such a small time frame, and then they understand, like, I relate to that. Like, he went through that, I went through something similar. So it's things like that that are just good. Like,
so that's going to probably be maybe our next topic, because we are hitting the hour mark now. People have lovely lives to deal with. People. So we do have to give our blessings to everybody watching. Once again, big up to Burna Boy and to Phil, all our people that have literally supported us throughout the beginning of this. Jasmine and Moy for bringing Hearts of Talent to the eyes of the world, or revamped from Brent Factor, or getting stronger every day. As it says on the screen, like, share and subscribe. Please hit us up on all social media. Jerome, lovely to have you back.
It's a pleasure.
Yoda, whatever you are.
The force is with you. Yeah, I've been out for a couple of weeks because work's been hectic, but also been dealing with a few family health stuff, so have had to put that priority. But yeah, happy to be back, and I hope everyone's been looking after. Yeah. But yeah, this week, Hearts of Talent, you've had Joel, Angie, Jerome, and it's all been about balance. And remember, we've got the live finals coming very soon.
We have more, so please keep an eye out on our social media. We've had such amazing feedback from the Brent Cross. So we've got more coming in Harrow. We've got locations coming. Oh, wait, 1 second. I put my child to bed because it's bedtime. But okay, you lie on the sofa. But I am going to listen to my music now to get into my clean. That literally gives me the energy to just blitz my house. So Asian song, big up that one. That's a banger.
So everyone, have a good night. You don't have to go home, but you got to get up out of here. Hearts of Talent.
I am assuming we don't have a video because our technical person is on recovery. So Can
Until
we
next.
we're just gonna end it out as a random.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Hashtag Hearts of Talent.
Hashtag Hearts of Talent, yeah.
Unlocking your potential. We out.
Bye bye.
So he went.
Hey.